It was a video gaming platform at the time, even though there was some commentary happening there as well. And I decided I'm just going to strap on a PlayStation camera onto my PlayStation 4 at the time and start live broadcasting and while I play Fortnite. And I have a bunch of other friends who are journalists.
While he was playing Fortnite, do you guys remember when Hasan played Fortnite? Does anybody remember when Hasan played Fortnite? Well, I remember the Hasan Fortnite arc. I remember when he got #1 victory royale, just wiped out Tomato Town, got 10 kills on the board right now.
Activist organizers and whatnot that I play Fortnite with anyway. So we'll just talk about political issues while I do this. Now, there's a couple different reasons why I did that. Like I said, one, because I wanted to have something of my own, a media property of my own. The other reason was because I recognized that the gaming side of things, like the gaming culture side of that space, was heavily dominated by right-wing commentary.
He might, man, if I was Destiny, I would kill myself. What the?
Stop. I'm making Steven watch this twice at this point, okay?
He might as well just be sitting there with these guys being like, yeah, so, you know, I like politics and I like...
Dude, I'm subjecting Steven to rage bait twice. I'm sorry, dude.
Video games. And, you know, on Twitch, I was thinking, what category do I fall? Am I under video games or am I... There's no politics category, but, you know, we're playing video games and we're just chatting. So I guess they came up with this, you know, just chatting category, I suppose. Fucking brilliant. So good.
As gamers, were much more diverse in their opinion, myself included. And I wanted to present an alternative. I also wanted to go against the...
By the way, this is why I think that... Yeah, right. This is why I think that Lonerbox is still a Destiny fan. Okay, once a DGGer, always a DGGer. Okay, you can take the Lonerbox out of DGG, but you can't take the DGG out of Lonerbox. That sounds weird. Do not overthink it. Okay, right. Where was I? I understand Lonerbox. Okay, he needs to be his own person, but I'm glad. I'm actually kind of glad. I think it actually does better propaganda for Steven in a way if Lonerbox is not directly associated with Steven, but is connected to him in such a way where he is still talking positively about him. Let me explain. If Lonerbox has already been established by the anti-fans as someone who has every reason to be angry and spiteful towards Steven. Yet at the same time, Lonerbox is someone who chooses peace, not war, okay? He doesn't do the active anti-fan things that usually anti-fans do, okay? If Lonerbox was still a part of Steven's orbit, they would call him a cuck. A cuck to Steven for the Pixie situation, okay? And his opinions on Steven would be discredited, okay? But now, because Lonerbox is away from Steven, he is able to connect with H3H3. He is able to connect with a lot of other people, because sadly, Steven is radioactive. However, he is clearly still a fan of Destiny. So when he talks good things about Destiny, it isn't just being regarded as something that is just simply Destiny propaganda or Destiny Orbiter propaganda or like Destiny Orbiter like bias or something, right? For the sake of clout. So instead, it is looked upon as an actual endorsement of Steven himself, right? That's the way I kind of look at it. You could disagree with me, but, you know, from my perspective, this is my current opinion, okay? So I'm just going to say, okay, that as much as people want Lonerbox to reconnect the bridge with Steven, as much as I want to build the bridge with Lonerbox, okay, because I still want to, it's just that Lonerbox probably is no at this point, because, again, I've tried all means to, DM'd him, I've try contacting him, or whatever, right? All the means to, okay? Okay, I get the message. You don't want to build a bridge with me, okay? That's fine. I'm glad, okay? You do not let your personal vision, your personal, like, experience blind your political views like it did Jay Stoke, okay? I'm just happy about that, okay? I really am, okay? Are you banned from his Discord? Hell yeah. I got unbanned only to get banned again from Lonerbox's Discord. Why? Why? Wait, is this name public already? His name is public, right? Nassim is a good dude. Yeah, his name is Nassim, though. Yeah. Because it got doxxed at some point. Like, at some point, it got completely doxxed. And I think he was just repeating his own name on stream. And I was like, okay, whatever. So, yeah, he's a really base guy. He's a good person.
Grain, because at the
He got doxxed by Bad Epinato.
time, this is, we're talking like 2016, 2017, at the peak of like woke
Yeah, he was,
SJW cartoon.
I wanted
Fuck
to
Bad
not really
Epinato. Fuck
follow
them
any
Epinato.
trends. Not really.
Don't dox his name. I think he's already public about it, though. Like, Lonerbox is already public about his name. But I'm gonna be frank, okay? I think at some point, if you, the streamer yourself, say your name, out loud on your stream, I think that's fair game at that point, okay? Obviously, I'm still gonna be careful or whatever, right? I still like the name Lonerbox, so I'll still call him Lonerbox. But I'm just saying, like, if anyone does regard it, I just don't view that as an actual dox, okay? Unless there is actual malicious intent behind it, right?
Oh, he's so funny, man. He's just. I need to get some props for this bit. I don't actually know the Hasan Destiny backstory. The backstory is that Hasan.
People with principles don't change every opinion they have because Tiny made them upset. Yeah, sure. One person is Pisco. I think Pisco glazed Destiny after Destiny appeared on Fox News primetime. And that was after the big conflict between Pisco and Destiny, right?
Started streaming on
that
Twitch.
was afterwards. Okay.
He started streaming on Twitch to about 30 viewers, and I think his gaming streams went up to like 100 at points. And then he had that debate with Charlie Kirk, and then he made contact with Destiny, and then because Destiny was already doing this, he was already debating people and playing video games, and then Hasan kind of like jumped into that sphere, and then they became fucking friends, and then that's when Hasan blew up on Twitch. And I think when he blew up, it wasn't over gaming, wasn't it? It was when he was watching fucking Gordon Ramsay and shit. Because all those people like Denims and all those people, they would watch Kitchen Nightmares. They would just watch like regular.
I just saw somebody appear in waiting room for like half a second.
Or fucking Chris Hansen sometimes.
I saw that.
Yeah, they would just watch like regular shows on Twitch because no one got in trouble for it for a while. Yeah, this is but obviously now he's just kind of whitewashing the fact that he kind of piggybacked off of that trend that had already been started by befriending Destiny. Oh God. That is so funny, man. I just need some props to go with this. I need some appropriate imagery. There we go. There we go. Okay, tell us. Tell us about your Twitch going against the grain. Just kind of, I just thought, oh, I like this and I like this, and I put it together. Oh, whoa. And then just stuff started to flow.
Depictions of what the left represented. And there was some validity to the arguments that were being presented. Obviously, it was like the most maximalist, most ridiculous depiction of the left. But some people would lean into that a little bit, where they were like, no, we are like this. We are joy killers. We are woke skulls. And I was like, I don't think you have to be that. I think you can have.
Okay, I'm being trolled at this point, okay? Because after that, I saw another person join him. Fuck you. I think Pisco's only issue is that he has a community full of anti-fans and psychotic far lefties. Yeah, but like, if you're going to be a content creator in a certain way, like, I think stuff is, like, that kind of stuff is just going to happen normally, right? And, I don't know, Fuck. Yeah, no, I am frustrated with Pisco. I'm also frustrated with Hutch.
Fun and also still have progressive values. And I wanted to basically show that to
Yeah, that's not by accident.
a audience that had maybe
Pisco openly and publicly flirts with the far
never
left.
really encountered that. And I wanted to be in an environment that I was comfortable in as a male who games. And that was a very male focused gamer space, which was. And last but not least, I wanted to get better off the cuff, because up until that moment, I had always scripted my content. I was writing it. And
Fun, he's always miserable. Hasan didn't always used to be this wired. He wasn't always this triggered. That was something a recent thing in the last couple of years. Hasan used to be quite funny. Like, you'd turn on his stream and he was like either talking about fucking hogs, Republicans or whatever, or watching or just playing video games and like just joking and shit like that. Yeah, he used to be a lot more he looks like he used to be a lot happier. I don't know what happened.
then I would actually take the writing on my videos and
He got Destiny happened.
turn it into a Huffington Post.
Oh, yes. No. I think there's a better explanation for this. Narcissistic people like to search up their own name. Right. Narcissistic people like to search up their own name on social media and in Google search because they're constantly obsessed about what other people think about them. People think that narcissistic people are like kind of secure people who are like kind of giga chads. That's not true. Narcissistic people are the most insecure people on planet Earth, okay? Because they constantly obsess about what other people think of them, which is why they take insane amounts of time trying to shape the public narrative in such a way where they are able to receive that social validation. In addition to receiving that social validation, they also want to do almost inhumane things in order to make that part true. Like, for example, in terms of Hasan, he is willing to use Kaya as a stream prop while seemingly abusing Kaya, right? So Hasan is a narcissist. I think what happened is that over time, I don't think it's that Hasan. I don't think Hasan has always been. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I don't think Hasan has always been a very spiteful, vindictive person. I think what happened over time is that Hasan had more and more and more haters over time, right? Because in the beginning, there weren't that many Hasan haters, but now the Hasan haters have reached an absolute peak and it's only growing, right? Former fans, the longer you stream, the more former fans you have. The longer you stream, the more haters you have. Asmongold's audience, Destiny's audience, now possibly even Vash's audience, right? So when you're searching yourself up constantly and you're constantly watching videos of yourself where you're watching videos of other people criticizing you, you have gone far and beyond than just taking in constructive criticism. You are taking in self-harm. That is an act of self-harm, okay? That's an act of self-harm, all right? Searching up your own name in social media over and over again to obsess over is an act of self-harm, okay? It is the emotional and internet equivalent of slitting your wrists, okay? Of cutting yourself, all right? It is the equivalent of that, okay? It just is. As somebody who has done that before, it is the equivalent of self-harm, okay? Because you're so obsessed with how other people think of you to the point where you're ruining your own mental with that, right? And yeah, that's essentially what happened, okay? That's also what happened with me, okay? But you know, you gotta fix yourself.
This article. So I would just like reformat my scripts into an actual article, and that was fine. But I wasn't very good off the cuff.
Oh, Tectone is a really good example of this too, okay? So Tectone also searches himself up all the time. And he gets angry, which is why Tectone is able to find me. Because you would not be able to find me naturally unless you were name searching yourself throughout on like the 8th YouTube page for the 800 view video, that 800 view video of me covering Tectone, right? Make sense? Yeah, like, yeah.
So I thought to myself, I can play video
NMP
games
as
and
well.
talk about politics at the same time and be able to.
Do you guys remember that one time when Hasan said, do you remember that one time when Hasan said, hey chat, do I have aura? Chat, do I have aura? Chat. Do I have aura? He prefers the word motion. No. For that one specific clip, he said the word aura. For that one specific clip, he said the word aura, okay? So he's like, do I have aura, chat? Do I have aura? Bro, nobody assigns aura to themselves, okay? That's not how it works. How do you feel your own aura? That's not a thing, okay? Aura is something that other people say that you radiate. You do not notice that, okay? Unless other people tell you that you radiate aura, okay? So unless you consist of two bodies, like the one boxing quest in Cyberpunk 2077, where one person is split into two bodies, okay? You cannot tell whether or not you radiate aura, okay? That's it.
Entertain people, maybe 30 at a time, maybe 300 at a time if I'm lucky, then I can get a lot better at public speaking and speaking off the cuff. And as you guys might have figured out by now, I never shut the fuck up. So I guess it worked.
And you mentioned progressive values and that being something that's important to you. What are progressive values, would you say?
I think progressive values, for me at least, are founded around empathy first and foremost, to try and uplift everyone's material conditions to the best of our ability, and focusing on protecting those who need protection, and simultaneously advancing a cause of the way I think about it, advancing the cause of unlocking the potential of every single person, no matter where they are. Because right now, there are probably billions of brilliant people that never actually get the opportunity to.
They should make an aura mirror. No, aura is like they enter a room or they exhibit some degree of, you just feel it. You know what I mean? Like, you just feel it. Like even on stream, right? If a person exhibiting aura, you're like, wow. Right? Okay, listen. Okay, I promise this is not going to come off. Okay, this is going to be kind of cringe. Okay. Fuck. No, I'm not going to use that example. Fuck. I was going to say, oh my god. Okay, never mind. It's okay. All right. It's fine. It's all right. Oh, right. Okay. You know what? Fuck it. I'll put this out as an example. Okay. She was about to glaze Tiny. Shut the. No, I was not. Shut up. Okay, I was, but we don't have to go over that, okay? Fuck you. Stop. All right? Okay. This is aura, okay? Food's aura. I don't have. Stop. This is aura,
Thank
okay?
you all for coming. My name is David Clayton.
This is aura. This is aura. Why is this only 5 seconds? Fuck. I don't know.
Hello. Thank you all for coming.
Yes.
My name is David Clayton. I'm challenging 82-year-old Virginia Fox of North Carolina's District 5. I had a whole speech written out, but seeing Donald Trump's last words calling out any kind of opposition to him as sedition or treason or traitorous, issuing threats, death threats to Democrats.
Who is this guy?
Republicans like Massey, anyone that dares to question his ultimate authority. We have an issue today with our country, and it's beyond politics. It's beyond party. And frankly, with Donald Trump, it always has been. This is about power and control. This is not about the Constitution. On day one of winning my race against a Donald Trump allegiant loyalist that pledges an oath to a wannabe dictator over the Constitution, I will introduce articles of impeachment. And I hope every single one of my fellow candidates, fellow congresspersons will as well. It's a shame that there are so few currently in office that are still even on the fence of debating whether or not to do it. Because this has nothing to do with party politics. This has nothing to do with politics. You're either for the Constitution or...
Bro, this guy radiates so much aura that you can hear the airflow. Can you guys hear the airflow? Like, you guys can literally hear the airflow, right?
or you're not. If Joe
What the
Biden
fuck?
had done 1/10 of anything Donald Trump is doing today, I'd be calling for Joe Biden's impeachment. Politics and party aside, this is simply about the Constitution we the people. I'm going to keep this very short for you because apparently I'm a seditionist. Apparently being anti-fascist makes you a terrorist today in this land of the free,
Like a jet engine.
home and birthplace of Antifa.
True.
Well, Donald Trump, I say make duels legal again because you are a coward and your entire
What the
administration
fuck?
needs to come down. Impeachment is just the start. And honestly, it's frankly
What the
too
fuck?
polite for an unpolite scoundrel such as yourself. My name is David Clayton. Clayton, the number 4nc.com. I don't scare.
Oh my
I don't
god.
intimidate. And you'll be damn sure I don't falter.
Oh,
Thank you. Let's go.
oh my god.
to unlock their true potential because of where they're born. Like, they might be born in Sudan, in a village that is being overtaken by the RSF. They might be born in India to an impoverished neighborhood and are not going to have the access to education, and therefore
XQC live translating the last song. Well, let me know if he has the correct opinion.
be
Okay,
able
good luck.
to truly revolutionize whatever sector they might be interested in revolutionizing. And I think that's what I want to do.
This is the clip you want me to talk about.
I will say this, despite
What the
The
fuck is he
Daddy,
wearing?
he's awesome.
reality, despite the fact that Hong Kong is such a formative fixture in Western culture, I swear to God, the entire time I was waiting in the line and I was thinking in my mind, why are there different systems? One system, please.
I can't believe he advocated, dude. Oh my god. Do you think that, like, someone is in the room with him when he was doing this? The blush is getting worse. What are you on? Stop. Okay, you guys are evil and cringe, okay? Stop. Okay. Shut up. Okay. Bro, do you think that some, like, CCP official is in the room, like, just holding out a gun like this? And Hasan, like, sitting on the bed while he live streams? I feel like that's what's actually happening, in my opinion, okay? Who's looking like a peach? It's time to start handing out some bans. I'm joking.
Just pure convenience, okay? And I think out of
Bro, you know, I think Lonerbox himself has a very evil laugh, okay? Let's listen to that again, okay? He has a very evil laugh. He's got the oomph in that laugh, okay? Let's hear that now.
one system, please. Just pure convenience, okay? And I think out of sheer convenience, because of how inconveniencing
Hello?
it is to go from mainland China to Hong Kong. I'm not kidding. I think people will be like, no, look, come on. One
Okay. It's the Hong Kong system all over China.
system, unify now. This is ridiculous. Pick up the
What's the pissing, okay? Look.
pace.
It's like
I think go from sheer, I think.
Look.
just pure convenience. Okay, and I think, out of sheer convenience, because of how inconveniencing it is to go from mainland China to Hong Kong. I'm not kidding. I think people will be like, no, look, come on. One
Okay.
system,
The Hong Kong system all over China.
unify now. This is
That's what I'm saying.
this is ridiculous. Pick up the pace.
It's like
please.
it just he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't like remember if Ethan hadn't brought up what had actually happened in Hong Kong, you would
XQC says the Verso ending is her waking up in another painting. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Sorry, this actually is more important than any. Oh my god, hold on.
Painting here.
Okay, you pick Verso. Give me your take.
This
Give me your
is
take.
symbolic, but it can confuse the viewer though.
Sorry, spoilers. Okay, obviously.
Because she can only see that in a painting here.
Such a good fucking point. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's such a good fucking point. Wait, why didn't I look at that before? Why were the characters getting gommaged? Why were the characters getting gommaged in Verso's ending? Can somebody please tell me? Like, is that just in her, like, thoughts? Is that just in her memories? Like, are they saying goodbye after that? Because otherwise, why did that happen? Why did that? That's such a good question. That's such a good, fuck me, that's such a good question. No, it's not. No. It's not just her imagination. It's not just her imagination. Do not say that, okay? It's not just her imagination, okay? It brings into the scene of a most existential question. What if the people who were waking up from the Matrix to the real world in Zion, they were still in another simulation? Now, let me tell you one piece of evidence pointing to this. When Neo stepped out of the Matrix in, I think, the second or the third movie, he was gifted a spoon. All right? The spoon references Neo talking with the child in Matrix 1 when the child bends the spoon with their mind. Okay? There was no conceivable way, unless it was a simulation, for Neo to have received that spoon later on. Unless you're bringing into question the idea that it could be another simulation. You know I'm right, okay? You know I'm right.
So it's a painting then.
And he still has superpowers while outside. Think, chatters, think. How does Neo have powers in the outside world? How is it that one interpretation of this could be that wasn't flashbacks, but the gamage happening in the outside world, the so-called outside world? Inception teaches us about a dream being inside of a dream. Expedition 33 came after Inception. It draws upon its vision from multiple sources in literature and media. This is no accident, okay? It's to demonstrate to you that Verso's ending is worse than you think. I think I'm right. I think I'm cooking. Okay, hold on, a little bit more. He's not happy.
I enjoyed
He's
it.
not happy. He's not happy. Look at him. He's not happy. He's not happy with the ending.
Game of the year though? Thinking emojicon.
Yeah?
Thinking emojicon emoji.
Yeah?
I'll let it finish. Hold on, I sent a text real quick.
You're not gonna answer?
I think there's a lot of oversights.
Okay.
Never have even heard what happened there in like 2019, 2020. You would never even known what the fuck had happened. That the Chinese government basically came in and fucking crushed the protesters and clamped down on free speech and civil liberties and autonomy and everything else.
Oh yeah, by the way, again, I think at the beginning of this stream, we went over apparently the transcript and the full length video of the court hearing of the general who defied CCP orders at the time to bring in the military into the city to stamp down on the protesters. That entire interview has been leaked on youtube.com. Okay. Yeah, the entire interview has been leaked on youtube.com, and yeah, it got translated into, when it was put into AI. Yeah, it was translated. All the Chinese was translated. Yeah, on the one general that defied CCP orders for the Tiananmen Square.
Like, you wouldn't even know it happened. He had to acknowledge it after he was prompted. Yeah, they did kind of, clamp down on some civil liberty.
What the fuck's going on?
Do you know how that ended for the general? Apparently he retired. He was stripped of rank and he was stripped of service. And because of other rulings before him or after him, I think, or something, apparently somebody ruled mercy in terms of like, well, we shouldn't prosecute people anymore by executing them like this. Like, if they defy orders like this, instead we should think imprisonment is a good, valid option. So he's been stripped of rank and he's been cast out, and he lived a quiet life elsewhere. Okay, apparently he went and lived a quiet life elsewhere, and then he was asked again in the future after that whether he would still make the same decision he did then, and his reply was yes, he would still defy the orders. So yeah, pretty admirable man, I'm just saying.
It's ridiculous. And I will tell you exactly.
It's true. I feel exactly the same about the West Bank. Checkpoints. Just, bro, there's already a government. There's already a functioning liberal democratic state there. Just take all of it. We can think about civil liberties later. Apparently, if we're doing the Hong Kong thing. Imagine, dude, it's so disgusting. Oh god.
Why? I will tell you exactly why right now. Okay, I heard it has the highest concentration
Official XQC rating is 8.8. Oh, okay.
of Michelin star restaurants. That makes sense.
That's
the
all right.
city is slammed. So, I'll tell you why. I have a visa. I have a visa from China. And in our group, I'm the only one who only got a 1-day visa.
Okay, that's fucking cringe. Wait, what? Did you give me a different timestamp there? Oh, 1433. Admits to a factual fuck up. No way. He never does that.
Even go to
Let's go context.
see Oda pacing. I'm calling China right now. I got the hookup. Do it, King. Do it. Anyway, we fucking crossed the border. First, I found out you can't even go to Hong Kong without additional clearances, whatnot, because different system, right? I thought Hong Kong was already officially, formerly a part of mainland China. It's not. There's still a different system here. It's still very British. I mean, the outlets are fucking British. The cars are driving on the wrong side of the road. They got it all.
Well, dude. Oh my god, dude, he's such a cringe motherfucker. I actually hate how mainland China is stamping down on Hong Kong. The reason why Hong Kong was like feels so special in the first place is because it's not part of mainland China, not because it is part of mainland China. It's so cringe that like Hasan would sit here and complain about things being British. Oh my God. Yes, God forbid Western influence upon somewhere upon the Asian jurisdiction. Oh my God. Heaven forbid. Oh my God. Oh God. God, this motherfucker is so cringe. I fucking hate this guy.
Right? Once we cross the border, like once we cross Customs and Border Patrol, Chinese style, Irene pulls up to me and goes,
Chinese style. Oh my, bro, dude, he's he's such a LARPer, dude. He's such a LARPer. Bro, I'm not even that Chinese, okay? I'm really not, okay? I consider myself to be an American, okay? 我会说中文，我真的会说中文，我的家是从中国来的，你知道吗？ But like, dude, I know how to speak Chinese, but like, I don't consider myself to be like American, whatever. I consider myself to be American. Fuck, that was a slip up. Fuck. Okay, all right. Well, I can feel my ancestors rolling in their graves, okay? I can feel my ancestors rolling in their graves, okay? From this cringe-ass motherfucker, okay? To appropriate my Chinese fucking culture. But man, fuck you, bro. What the fuck? Bro, get your ass out.
I have to look at your passport. I'm like, what? Because remember, we're supposed to be going to Shenzhen today. I was supposed to do a day trip to Shenzhen because Shenzhen is 15 minutes out from where I'm at, okay? Hong Kong.
Yeah, but I swear sometimes when he talks about China...
Bro, if you're gonna simp for China this much, you better fucking pronounce the words correctly, okay? You fucking inbred, alright? You fucking inbred racist. Hold on. What is the what's the tone indicators on Shenzhen? Hold on.
Shenzhen.
No, that's not what it sounds like. Hold on. What the fuck? I thought that like I thought they would have the correct pronunciation. That's fucking cock. Shenzhen. No, Shenzhen. Is it Shenzhen? Hold on, let me see. Fuck, at least pronounce it correctly.
Welcome to this pronunciation video. Today we will be focusing on a new word that you might find challenging or intriguing. So let's dive into today's word. Shenzhen, which means
Shenzhen in Chinese.
Shenzhen, right?
Shenzhen.
Yeah. At least say it fucking correctly, moron.
He doesn't really seem to go any farther than just
Especially American.
what
now,
fucking the fucking trains and like soying out over the red book. Does he actually even know anything about China? I feel like he.
Oh my god,
never really heard him
dude!
talk
I can't with
really
this,
in depth,
dude.
about.
Bro, I'm about to die from cringe. Like I actually am about to die from cringe. Okay?
Anything to do with China. It's all very.
XA's E33 is a non-gamers game. Okay, LTIC.
I know I expect him to be like, pamphlet, like post-it note analysis, but I didn't expect it to be that shallow.
What do you think is the way to, because I think that's probably something the left and right actually agree on in my experience, the center left, the center right, they're kind of moderate. But I suppose the disagreement probably is about what you think is the way by which that happens. So the right might say, well, the answer to that is capitalism, right? I imagine you don't agree. So how do you think those things get, those people who don't currently have opportunity both in this country, in other Western countries, but around the world, what's the mechanism by which they get those
Bro is still going.
opportunities?
I think creating a robust base of support, like a minimum social safety net for all, is the way to do it. And there are many different ways of achieving that result. I don't think capitalism has been able to do that. What I mean by that is capitalism still revolves around the inherent contradiction of at its most reductive way to put it, someone's got to clean the toilet. And in an effort to make sure that there is always going to be people that.
Why don't you do it? I wonder if Hasan has ever cleaned a single fucking toilet in his fucking
are
life,
wage
bro.
laborers. There is this dynamic where
Was this filmed while he was in China? I don't think so. Did he get back already, or?
Huh?
Can't we can't advance humanity too much. This plays itself out in the international scale in unequal exchange, where if we were to allow a lot of the third world to develop to a certain degree,
then we can afford it.
Things would be far too costly. We wouldn't get the cheap materials and the cheap natural resources that we need to extract so that we can have an iPhone for the reasonable price of $500. Or, I mean, even that's increasing now.
Why is it the case that the third world countries have experienced economic development over the last several decades? Like, they've been developing the entire time. I don't understand. Like, people come up with this idea that that it's like a very, very standard like Marxist-Leninist talking point, which is that
I'm pretty sure in China, the differences between, like, the difference in standard of living in China is drastically different depending on where you live. And even though that's true for every single location on planet Earth, maybe, like, at least how I feel it is, and somebody can correct me, is that in China, you can still be living in a fucking mud hut village, okay? But if you go to Shanghai or like Beijing, then obviously, like, standard of living is going to be pretty high because, I don't know, maybe the government like invests more in these cities because more tourists like to visit there.
All these social democracies, like when they attack Sweden and Finland and Norway, they'll say that the only way that these Western liberal democracies get to sustain social welfare is because they plunder the shit out of the third world to do it.
Yeah.
And when you look at these countries, you can respond to that in a couple of ways. One, you can look at these countries and all of their top trading partners are usually like each other. It's like other Western liberal democracies and other developed and stable countries. Because if you want to trade with a country, one of the main things that you want that other country to be is stable. You don't want to trade with an unstable country where moving stuff in and out is like really dangerous, or there's like gang theft and there's fucking warlords and shit like that. That's actually not really that advantageous compared to having a stable society to trade with. It's just not. And it is true to a degree, though. There are some things that are obviously quite cheap because...
Yes, the standard of living in China significantly depends on location, with a major divide between prosperous coastal urban centers and less developed rural areas. Major cities like Beijing and Shanghai have high living costs, but also higher wages, particularly in industries like technology and finance, while rural areas often have lower incomes and a lower overall standard of living. Yeah. Yep. Okay, cool.
Because of exploitation in the third world, but it's quite often a lot of things that people don't need. It's like fast fashion and fucking jewelry and shit. Like, but I'm just like, that's all stuff that Hasan likes. I don't.
Oh, sorry. Is he talking about his capitalistic
I personally
lifestyle?
think that if we were to do that, by stopping our endless and needless cruel militarism in the global South and allow these places to develop, extend an open hand to them.
Like, when he's talking about this, like, can you elaborate on like which particular countries we're talking about here, where there's the third world countries that capitalists or capitalist states? Because again, maybe I'm missing something, but he's talking. So like, people always refer to this so vaguely. Like, which country is out there? Like, they're trying to develop and they're trying to build themselves up to become like a stable, prosperous economy to trade with the rest of the world. And America's like, no, we're going to send troops in so we can fucking kill people who try to do that. Where's that happening?
Cost some nonsense.
That we would allow society to flourish in ways that we previously have not foreseen.
I guess your point about cleaning toilets is interesting because it's something we've addressed a lot on this trip.
With the communist Ottoman who makes his money in a capitalist system. Thank you.
Thanks, Joan. Thanks for the 99.99. We appreciate that. Whoa, $100. Hell yeah.
Wow, big money.
Thank you so much. At your service.
That's right, left, center, etc. is the incredible wealth inequality and the speed at which the gap is, that's growing. There's a big problem. People on the right don't want to admit it, and it's true. But on the other hand, someone is always going to have to clean the toilets, right? Like, we have a pretty big safety net in the UK. And what that's mainly done is trapped a lot of people in a place where they don't have to work and they therefore don't. And
That
also,
is not true. That is just not true at all. We have job seekers allowances. People spend varying amounts of time on it. Generally speaking, the more generous the job seekers allowance.
You know, I realize this now, and I think it's only because I'm a fucking moron and I didn't realize this before. The only reason why you see so many Australians on the internet and why you see so many fucking British, Europeans, and Australians on the internet is because, especially in more terminally online spaces, is because like welfare is pretty damn good in these countries, no? Welfare is pretty damn good in these countries. They have more time to spend online. It's like suffering from success, you know? So that kind of makes more sense. Like, I was always wondering, like, why is there so many fucking British people on the internet, okay? And because I open YouTube, okay, and I check my fucking front page, and there is fucking Chud Logic, okay? Motherfucking Chud Logic, okay? And then there's Queeman. And then there's Dickers. All these fucking anti-fans who are all, like, British. What the fuck? Where the fuck did they come from? And then I hop onto voice chat, and all I hear are people from New Zealand and Australia. What the fuck? Where did these people come from? And then I realized, oh wait, it's because they have a good welfare system. They have good welfare safety nets. That's probably why. Because they have more time to spend on the internet because of these safety nets and because, like, whatever, right? Where are all the Nigerians at, bro? Where are all the like you would expect to see like Indians everywhere because of the population difference, right? But where are the Indians at, bro? People is like everyone is like accusing each other of being Indian, but do we even know if Indians even exist? When was the last time any of you guys saw an Indian person IRL? Hello? That's what I've been saying, okay? You know I'm spitting. You know I'm spitting, okay? Audio and video are out of sync. Refresh.
Or unemployment benefits are, it does not correlate with people just becoming unemployed forever and languishing. Countries like, it's either, I think Denmark or Finland in particular, like these countries have very, very generous job seekers allowances and unemployment benefits programs, and they don't have massive like unemployment because of people just like drip feeding off the state. It turns out that most people would like to buy and do shit, and you need a job.
Refresh to not help? Fuck. It's okay. Just listen to me in the background, okay?
To do that. Like, yeah, people.
Is this issue happening for anybody else?
Like an entire lifetime on benefits is not actually a very attractive lifestyle, and people, it doesn't produce like a significant like economic impact with the amount of unemployment that it produces. It's not true.
You talk about, important people from other countries to work for
Yeah?
less.
Fuck. Man, how bad is it? Is it by like 1 second? Is it by like 2 seconds? Because that's pretty severe. If it's by 1 or 2 seconds, that's very severe. But if it's by like a quarter of a second, that's not too bad.
Consequence of that is it suppresses wages for the people.
Because Steven's streams are like, there technically is some lag there, but it's like milliseconds there too. Okay? It's like 0.5. Okay, that's not too bad. Because Steven's like video and audio technically is kind of out of sync. A little bit out of sync, but it's so tiny nobody notices. But I notice. Yeah. When I try to match up like the thing exactly, right? I think it's because the more higher quality you're trying to stream to YouTube, the more information you're trying to send across, the more there might be a discrepancy just simply because of the amount of information you're sending across to the internet. So yeah,
people in the country as well.
I think that's what's going on.
It's also not true. I mean, you can look at wage suppression coming from immigration, from research that even Boris Johnson's government tried to commission. They tried to prove that it caused wage suppression, and the numbers that they found were absolutely tiny, and they were also only on very specific parts of the workforce, because the economy is never as simple as one input produces one output. It's not one cause, one effect. It's never that simple. Immigrants also allow industries and companies and businesses to build up that otherwise just wouldn't have, because they might have supply enough workers for a particular.
It's not that bad. The blush still shows up in HD. I think my blush is fading now because I turned the temperature down. I think my blush was there just simply because the temperature was high.
Particular company that wants to start, and then that company that starts
Maybe, I don't
needs to
know.
employ managerial
Yeah,
people,
it's
and
smaller
those
now.
managerial people
It's
might be
smaller
local.
blush.
So the wage suppression argument is never
I don't wear any makeup, okay?
held up. Like any loss that comes from slightly diminished wages in the terms of like less than 1% from immigrants is offset by the amount that they either pay in taxes or that they produce through just like the fact that they're working there, or through jobs that can be created by the presence of immigrants. Because more immigrants work, more stuff gets produced, stuff gets cheaper, people can buy stuff for cheaper, employers have more employees to access, so the workforce can grow quicker and businesses can grow, and then that means middle income jobs can grow as well. Like, you just don't see this where like large numbers of immigrants who come over specifically on visas where they have to either study or work, causing some kind of like economic catastrophe. It just doesn't happen.
It's where they don't
Does not
have to
happen.
work, and they therefore don't. And also, you talk about importing people from other countries to work for less. Kind of the consequence of that is it suppresses wages for the people in the country as well. So who would clean the toilets if we...
So great question. Let me address the wage depression aspect of this.
Why does this look like an interview for getting initiated to the axis of evil? Does anybody think that this is a particularly evil looking interview screen? Like a thing? Like, obviously it looks clean, okay? I will say this looks clean, okay? But does anybody else think that this is such an evil, like, fucking backdrop? It's like people in the high tower just looking upon the ants in the city below and going, look at them. Filth. Millions of people living their lives unaware of our perfect system. When we created the first Matrix, yeah, I don't know. It is something like that. Is it 6 feet? Where is it? I don't know. It looks cool. I don't even know. Wait, hold on. Is this even real? Like, is this even real? Like, how can we be sure this is not like a fucking projector or some shit? Looks a little ominous. Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
It's because this is the one area where
the high castle.
sometimes I hear
Absolute
people
cinema.
talk about it, and there's like
Don't
some
fucking agree with
nuggets of
them.
truth in there.
If he's a left, he's going to agree with it because it's like, but it's the capitalists that are doing it. So if we want to protect the native workers and all this shit, like we're going to concede on that. But just as long as you take the fight to the billionaires, Corbyn tried to do this as well. It was such a fucking stupid thing to do.
Because yes, importing labor into the country will always depress wages in the absence of good regulation. And good regulation in that format would be demanding wage parity, and also not creating any other external factors that actually cause you to have a...
What about Eastern European countries? The populations of these Eastern European countries have, for most of the last 2 decades, been in decline, haven't they? And I don't think those economies became much better for it.
a more servile labor force. What I mean by this is...
Wait, what?
And I don't think those economies became much better for
you to have
What's
what
in
about
decline?
Eastern European countries? The populations of these Eastern European countries have, for most of the last 2 decades, been in decline, haven't they?
I wonder why it's been declining. Okay, that sounds fucked up. Okay, but...
And I don't think those economies became much better for it.
Yeah, it sounds a little fucked
more
up.
servile
Okay? It
labor
is what
force.
it
What I
is.
mean by this is I want to use the example of H-1B visas. The reason why H-1B visa system exists on paper is because there are certain highly skilled positions that, as it stands, our American companies are unable to fulfill. They're not able to fill those roles with the domestic labor force, right? That's the on paper. In practice, of course, it creates a more pliable labor force that you're bringing in, oftentimes from highly skilled countries that are still desperate, even if there is higher wages on average on the H-1B visa program, because if you lose your job, you get deported. Nobody wants to get deported, so they will do everything in their power to stay and work as hard as they physically possibly can. So this creates an environment where...
Oh yeah, the way that leftists think about the H-1B visa program is it's an exploitation system. Yeah. the way that they think about it isn't like, oh yeah, the jobs are getting replaced by Indian people. The way that leftists think about it is, oh, this is like worldwide worker exploitation. Okay. I was like, okay, where is he trying to get at? I was like, okay, then I realized, okay, this is what he's getting
I think
at.
our bosses, our capital owners in America are like, why would I get an American worker who is in comparison to an Indian worker that's coming into the country that is desperate to.
Yep. Oh, fuck. I hate these people. God damn. Like both arguments are number one, retarded. Okay. Number one, they're retarded. Okay. Because there's obviously going to be a lot of like bringing in immigrants to work the jobs overall is always going to be a good idea. Yeah, even though some jobs could be replaced, at the same time, the net goodness for the economy and for the country overall is typically something that is worth it, right? The second thing is typically against the replacing jobs point for the second part, against the right, because the right-wing narrative for the H1B shit is like, your shit is going to get replaced, right? God, what is it called? When you think that every single time something advances or some policy changes that you think the worst thing is going to happen. Fuck. What fallacy is it? Where's Radiant? It's like lump of labor fallacy, right? Yeah, because you assume that they are coming to take your specific job, when in reality, continuum fallacy, I don't know. Basically, like, in reality, they could either be creating more positions for other roles, or they could allow existing workers to do their jobs better or faster, or you're stimulating the economy in such a way where companies are able to perform better and open new roles. Does that make sense? Like, but people are unable to comprehend the downstream positive effects of things and can only comprehend and go to the worst case scenario on H-1B visas, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, that's okay. Yes, that's the way I'm thinking about it, right? If that makes sense, yeah. Because nobody ever calculates immediately, okay, it's going to make this company better, and because this company is doing so well, it's going to open up like 500 more positions, right? For people that are not Indian, right? If that makes sense. But yeah, but people don't really know how to think of that, if that makes sense.
Keep this job. Why would I hire the American worker? I can pay the same fee to the Indian worker, or even a higher fee, as a matter of fact, to the Indian worker, because I know that he is going to work harder than the American labor force. So there is this competition. The way to solve that competition is through regulation.
Would you care about this as an internationalist, though, if like international workers can do a better job and get paid better for it? Wouldn't that be? Why would you care about there being a border in between them?
If the workers that were coming in from foreign countries were coming in with the knowledge that they are not going to be immediately deported, for example, and they have wage parity with the domestic labor force, this would actually make American companies think twice before hiring someone just as a replacement for the American worker, because they wouldn't get any additional benefits as a boss. They wouldn't get the additional benefit of like, I'm going to work you to the bone, right? Because I know if I fire you, you're gone out of the country and you want to be here. So that is a regulatory mechanism that we never implement in this country, because our capital owners actually enjoy the two-tiered labor structure that we have here.
And come back to the who cleans the toilets, even when there's a social welfare system.
I think that ultimately there's going to be people that fulfill these roles no matter what. And increasingly with automation and with AI, we're getting to a point where
after I complete this Chaos Zero Nightmare run, we can play some Celeste, okay?
the route tasks are already being delegated to robots to begin with. So the way I see it is there's always going to be someone that is tasked with either overseeing it, if it's a robot.
There's always that answer. Any fucking issue we've got in describing communism. For ages, it was robots. Now it's going to be AI, right? Yeah.
Doing it, or directly
automation.
Doing it. But since
Fully
it's an important factor in the commodity production, because someone has to engage in sanitation.
The philosophers were so foolish. Who guards the guards? Automation, bitch. All right.
I think it's
who guards the guards?
Valuable to ensure that they have a sense of autonomy and that those positions are hired and have enough replacement labor force so that they do less hours in general and still get a decent amount of pay, and so that they can still feel human and have some sense of autonomy in the labor force, where they can do that job and still make an honest living and be able to feed their family. And also,
Dude, Hasan is like, he's like paid $0 to say stupid shit, bro. Why, if you're gonna earn money, why can't you just say smarter shit? Does anybody understand why the fuck he says dumb shit all the time? Like, bro, like, Blood is actually being paid $0 to say dumb fucking shit. Oh,
so
God.
have some free time on the side to do.
Actually, no,
to
he's
pursue
not
whatever
being paid
hobbies they want to
$0.
pursue.
So the way to achieve that would be like what, a really high minimum wage, or like what's the way to get there? Like, because I agree with
The Comey case was dismissed without prejudice. That means they can file again, but it basically confirms what everyone thought, which is that it was dumb fucking charges. Is that it?
with the idea that people who are working every kind of job should have free
Shame.
time and make a good living. The question is, how do you do that? Because in a market economy, what you are paid is a function of what you produce, right?
Yeah. Well,
Because he's
Well, you're
dumb.
supposed to say no to that, Hasan.
That's
It's a
fucking-
function of negotiation between the two classes. Oh.
I think in a market economy, what you are paid should be what you produce.
Yikes.
I don't think that that's how it works in the market economy. I think in the market economy, your replaceability is what determines your wages,
Hey.
especially if you are replaceable by a non-domestic labor force, for example. That depresses your wages even further on the domestic front for the citizen labor force. So I think you're right, though. In the market economy, your output should be the determining factor. It's actually a socialist position, ironically enough. Not all
What?
socialists are.
What are you on, bro? What the fuck are you on about, moron? You work hard in a capitalist economy, you get promoted, and then you get paid more. Stupid. If a company does not promote you because and if you work hard and your company does not promote you, you leave that job, and you damage the company in that process because you left that job. Now they have to find a new worker. They have to train that new worker. It is a bad thing for a company if they are not looking for layoffs, okay? And then you join another company that has better benefits, better pay, higher promotion rates, right? So therefore, that company is going to benefit more than the one that you just left, okay? So that is how it works, stupid, moron, dumbass. Hello? It's a socialist position. Oh, can you just stop stealing the credit of how the market works? I just need one time where Hasan just doesn't just steal the credit from like an existing capitalistic system. Oh my
Against
God,
the market.
cringe.
And I would say that the output is the most consequential factor in that regard. I agree. What that means, however, is that if the company is actually, for example, increasing its output and therefore generating more revenue overall,
Again,
then
I always wonder, like, how do high immigrant countries like the United States become like the highest paying countries in the world because they also have lots of immigrants. What else? You got like Netherlands, Sweden, Germany. These are countries with lots of migrants.
everyone down to the most
Damn, I'm
replaceable
living in the
aspect
wrong
of labor,
country.
which would be sanitation in this regard, should still get paid a just wage, like fair compensation. Minimum wages is one way of doing it as a band-aid solution. I mean, but there are Nordic countries, for example, where there is no minimum wage because the minimum wage would
There's
ironically be a
unions, yeah.
depressing factor on the overall average wages that people get. How have they achieved this, though? They've achieved this through sectoral bargaining. They've achieved this through robust unions and labor participation in these wage negotiations. And that is the reason why they don't need to have a minimum wage. The minimum wage in and of itself is a big point of contention in the United States of America and a lot of other Western countries, only because our labor union participation in the United States is at less than 10% right now, which is unimaginably low. It's lower than countries that we have dominated, like Chile, where we rewrote their constitution basically and wanted to unleash a wave of neoliberalism, sometimes in the hands of dictators.
Are they fact checking them? The U.S. supported the coup, but the constitution was written
Thanks.
primarily by Chile's own military regime and conservative Chilean lawyers. Okay.
Uh-oh.
like Pinochet, even in that country, there's still 15% labor union participation.
I think my understanding is that they did get help from the Chicago boys, though, who were very American.
It was still higher than the United States of America, which is crazy to me.
If you've been following the immigration debate, you'll know how different the headlines can look.
There's no way that was a debate. How's that a debate?
Depending on where you get your news. We use ground news to help us
Hey.
step outside the can compare Georgia US news. Scrolling down on the frame that on leaning.
Why are sources of dumbassery and misinformation getting sponsored by ground news? That's like sponsoring a fucking website that will never ever put you on the front page if what they're paying for is accurate.
Let you compare. Care about getting to the truth country and get what news talk about.
This Constantine guy is such a tough guy online, and just let him yap here. Yeah, like because they're fucking MAGA cucks. Okay, I'm tired of people calling Triggernometry moderates. Okay, because they're MAGA. No,
Low skilled labor. So for context, my mother is a Venezuelan immigrant.
from
to the
everything
UK.
that I've seen.
When she was in the UK, she was a childminder. There was no minimum wage. My mum, roughly, I remember earning £2.20 an hour. There were no pension rights. So thankfully, like, I help my parents out. My dad helps my mum out, so she's not destitute. But that's
They agree for a softy convo. That's probably it.
what my mum's
The
position
only
was.
pushback we'll be seeing is on-screen fact checks. Yeah, I think Hasan is very careful to avoid skirting into areas that there would be massive disagreements. And on the economics, it's actually, again, because he can just shapeshift. He can just shapeshift into being whatever, just like pro-unions. Let's deal with the immigration thing by acknowledging all the bullshit about wage suppression and just say,
They can be considered moderate. They dislike Nazis, so they can be considered moderate. Dude, are you? Dude, oh my god, guys, we're so cooked.
to combat it with like wage parity. Like it's all just stuff that these people would agree with, but it's obviously he's not really like pushing forward his communist vision with these solutions. But
If she didn't have me or my father. As somebody who is from Venezuela, I worry when people mention socialism because I've seen what's happened to my country. How would you
that was
assuage the
America,
fears of people like
Bob.
me or people who come from a Cuban
That was the
background
United States.
who've seen the socialist dream, as
United
it were,
fucks.
descend into authoritarianism?
Well, first and foremost, I would say that all countries, to varying degrees, engage in authoritarianism in general. It's just something that
That's a fucking nothing burger comment. That comment literally does not mean anything. Like, what a useless, fucking pathetic, like, excuse for an intellectual statement. Oh my god, yeah, of course, all countries engage in some level of authoritarianism. But when you say that, that means fucking nothing, because now we just can't describe anything as authoritarian or not, okay? Because you're saying, excuse me, we all engage in a bit of unethical practice.
it's a function of the government.
fuck it, I hate this so much.
Fallacious? Yeah, it's fallacious, as in he's sucking the dick of these Triggernometry guys.
Like, it's the umbrella terms. It's like you want when people do this thing where, who did I speak to about this? I spoke to someone about this ages ago. It's where people try to do this thing where they want to use loaded language or very heavy words like
Isn't guy speak literal Russian talking points? Yeah, that happens all the time. These motherfucking so-called centrists are like directly getting orders from the fucking Kremlin these days.
authoritarianism when it suits them to launch an
It's
accusation. But when it's put against something they're trying to support, they will broaden that umbrella, but to do the opposite thing, to water it down. So we're talking about authoritarian countries like what? Cuba and Venezuela. It's like, oh, all countries are authoritarian to some degree. What the? No, that's not how we use the word authoritarian, you fucking moron. We use the word authoritarian to describe regimes that don't have democracy, that generally don't have freedom of speech, that have that have quite coercive policing, that have often quite arbitrary policing behavior. That would be an authoritarian regime.
See, I told you guys, Lonerbox is clearly a food shop's viewer, okay? That's what I've been saying. Okay, clearly Lonerbox is a food shop's viewer. Where else would he get such based opinions from, okay?
Not whatever the fuck. Oh, well, all states are authoritarian to some degree. You know, every state has a police force and which is the state's monopoly of the means of violence. That's not how you describe an authoritarian state. Jesus.
That's what I'm fucking talking about, okay? That's my Lonerbox class.
It obviously has the capacity to get out of hand. due to external factors in many instances, like combating much more powerful forces that want to cause instability in your country. It's not a justification for it, but
sometimes you laugh like Lonerbox. Okay, point to me one clip where I laugh like him, okay?
it is analysis in terms of like why these guys engage in the actions that they do.
Just like I get all my points from watching you, Lonerbox gets his points from watching you. A minority of people came up with this theory, okay? Food Shops is actually a Lonerbox skinwalker. Food Shops actually has a lot of mannerisms that are shut the fuck up, shut up.
In terms of suppression of all dissent, or even censorship, and sometimes even jail time. And the example I always use is the United States of America. Not only in the Cold War, but even preceding the Cold War, during World War I and World War II, actually had a practice of jailing all conscientious objectors, for example, who said, I don't want to fight in this war. They were like, all right, well, this is a world war, sucks to suck, you're going to jail. One of the famous examples is Eugene Debs, a socialist who actually...
Yeah, but my guess is when you ever talk about this kind of stuff, when you talk about McCarthyism and all these kinds of authoritarian measures taken during the Cold War, then you'd probably think twice if someone's response was...
I took it as a compliment.
Yeah, but aren't all countries kind of a little bit authoritarian sometimes? Like,
ran from prison and I think achieved like 1.3 million votes at the time, which was probably the most electoral success socialists had ever achieved.
Talk to me about the Chinese famine. Oh, everyone goes hungry sometimes. Everyone is a bit peckish. Fuck off.
He was a conscientious objector of World War I, which was the international Marxist position at the time. There was some deviation there. So I see it in a similar vein when these countries also engage in authoritarian actions, suppressing dissent, censorship, or trying to manage this dynamic of trying to continue doing governance while at the same time they have to like make sure that they're avoiding American intervention or Western intervention in general. As far as the fears that people have, assuaging the fears that people have in terms of what they've seen in their countries, whether it be Venezuela or Cuba, I think each country is different. Each successful and unsuccessful revolution is different. And I think it's important to understand the lessons and the failures, as well as some of the areas of success that these countries have been able to implement. Avoid the failures and try to focus on the successes, and hopefully you'll be able to have a long-standing and relatively happy form of governance.
I mean, I take your point.
Isn't probability-wise, aren't you just more okay with getting that if you just go with a liberal capitalist democracy?
Ooh, got him.
If that's the solution, if that's the approach you want to take, just like look at all these different countries that are developing or have developed and look at the failures and look at the successes. Well, can you just zoom out one stage and just be like, well, why am I sitting here being like, well, Soviet Union, oh God, whoa, collectivization, Holodomor, oh fuck, collapse, inevitable fucking internal collapse. Okay, well, let's go China. Oh God, great leap forward. Ooh, that's a bit, cultural revolution, probably not good. That could be me, it could be anyone. It could be the top of the party, could be an average peasant getting fucked over. Oh no, re-education, oh no. Okay, what about...
Genuinely hate that people consume this. No, they consume it and then tell you you're wrong. Okay, that's the worst part. Okay? It's already bad enough that people consume this, but then the people who consume this will never shut up about it.
Venezuela, oh, Maduro,
You know that meme of like Mr. Incredible going like, shut up. Please shut the fuck up. That's me.
I don't know about that one. Cuba, well, I mean, bro, fucking... The only people who go to Cuba are communist Americans who want to do little fucking photo ops and then they leave again. But if you just zoom out one step, why are you only looking at the communist countries?
As to the conscientious objector. But you look at Venezuela, for example, and then the reason I'm using it is because that's the example I know best.
Yeah.
You know, you've got rigged elections. You've got politicians who go up against Maduro. They're either thrown in jail, as in the case of Leopoldo Lopez, solitary confinement for 2 years, or you have, I think it's Corina Machado, who got nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, but she is currently in hiding in her own country because she knows the moment that her whereabouts are known, she's going to get thrown into jail, may not be seen again.
Yeah.
She's American.
I'm not going to defend Maduro, but I would say that the logical through line, and it's important to understand.
It would have been absolute cinema if Hasan got detained for having a bad meme on his phone. And the worst part is that he is so cucked that he would probably still be defending China after that anyway. Okay? Because that's how cucked Hasan is.
The opposition's logical through line in this instance is that these are forces that are very directly working with the United States of America that have tried to facilitate coups, even had an unsuccessful one all the way back in 2002 with Chavez and numerous other instances, openly talked about implementing coups under the first Trump administration, and is openly now
You got paid to defend China? Yeah, sure.
waging war, or at least threatening to wage war with Venezuela right now, encircling the entire coastline of Venezuela. With
the correct answer for this, by the way, is that for all of the economic and social and
remember that in every socialist country in the history of ever has only done bad because the USA or West or capitalism. It's unironically like I want somebody to just ask Hasan, is there any issues intrinsic to communism that you would improve on? Name one thing that you find to be intrinsic to communism that you feel like is a problem. I want him to answer that, okay? I want him to answer that. Something that isn't affected anything by the West. You have to name one. You have to name one flaw about communism that has nothing to do with outside influence. Okay?
Ecological failures that they've overseen in their time. The one thing you cannot fault communist regimes for is their leaders know how to stay in power. That's it. They know how to stay in power. They're very good at that. They're very good at the propaganda. They're very good at dealing with dissent. They're very good at providing some kind of baseline, I guess, for the people that they need to support them. That's it.
The most sophisticated weaponry known to man. In that regard, I think they see it as treason. I would go so far as say, in a similar scenario in the United States of America, I think, and this is not even a one-to-one dynamic because America is the most powerful nation on the planet, but China is getting up there, right? Let's see if China had, if in a hypothetical, if China had encircled the United States of America, and let's say in this hypothetical, I'm like very clearly someone who is going to China and talking to the CPC and saying like, we want Chinese intervention in this country because I hate Donald Trump, please.
That thing aside, for capitalists, at least well-educated capitalists, they could absolutely tell you problems inherent to the capitalistic mode. Yes.
I think in that regard, America would probably treat me in the exact same way, if not in a worse way, ironically enough.
But would they throw you in jail for trying to run democratically? I don't think personally that they would.
They absolutely would, I think. You think the American government would not throw me in jail?
Well, yeah, if Trump was a dictator who, absent American activity or absent Chinese activity, is still a dictator. Yeah, if Trump was a dictator, then yes, he would behave in a... Why are you doing this with this hypothetical? Yeah. Look.
Is there one good thing you can say about communism or socialism? Oh. I'll get back to you on that, okay?
Okay, yeah, let's say that, first of all, you got China surrounding the country, like another rival imperial power surrounding them, but also that your leader is a dictator. Yeah, of course they would do dictatorship. What's this comparison?
No.
If I was in a comparable...
If Hasan's smart here, he can say that America had McCarthyism, even though McCarthyism wasn't quite... that when the stakes were a bit higher in terms of global order and international... and there wasn't really, and there was multipolarity, like meaningful multipolarity, then yeah, America was a bit repressive. They had McCarthyism. They literally witch hunted people out of positions of power and positions of government and education and everything else for being communists. The UK did it very briefly at a much smaller degree under Clement Attlee, but yeah, we still did it anyway.
Scenario
we'll see.
Where China had encircled the United States of America, and I was saying, I want to run democratically. I want to be... and I'm demanding that China intervene. I think they would do the same, if not worse, for sure. Because, like I said, it's all a matter of
again, he's doing this like relativism again, because obviously it depends on what you're defending. What are you defending with this action? Well, in the case of the Britain and America, like they could say that they were defending themselves against people who were trying to produce a society that would have been objectively worse for people there. Doesn't justify the actions, doesn't justify the they were ousted, but were they jailed or executed? I don't know how many people were jailed. I know in the UK they didn't jail them; they just removed them from their jobs and destroyed their lives. And a lot of them were innocent as well. It was very paranoid, like, and we didn't do a fraction of what they did under with McCarthyism in the UK. But obviously, doing that to defend an already authoritarian regime, I don't really know why that makes sense.
Conditions on the ground with.
Yes, Attlee was the worst of it for us because it didn't last that long.
With respect to Eugene Debs, as I was talking about before, America felt threatened even at that time.
You're talking about wartime.
Yeah.
This is not a fair comparison, in my opinion, because wartime is wartime. It's about survival. Britain suspended elections during wartime, right? Like
America didn't actually. They did. They even during the Civil War.
But Britain did. America wasn't in war in the same way that Britain was.
That's why I said during the Civil War.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's fair. But again, it's different. I guess you said something interesting because, I was born in the Soviet Union, so we both have direct experience of socialism in various shapes and forms. You talked about, well, there's positives and there's negatives. So is there a country that's done socialism the way that you like?
I would say that
China, the least socialist one of all of them. the least practically socialist one of the lot. Yeah, that one. The one with the most billionaires and the most fucking private enterprise. Let's go.
And the most Rolls Royces. Well, I mean, I think Hong Kong has around 54-ish Rolls Royces. The last time I checked years ago.
The most consumerism.
I am hypercritical of all forms of governance, including the American one. I think that's not a surprise to you guys, right? And in that same vein, I think like there is critiques to apply to all forms of governance, even socialist ones.
Yeah.
And as far as like getting closer to what I think has been relatively successful, because if ultimately the point of government is to improve the material conditions of all people to the best of your ability, it's not always going to be perfect, but when you are getting, I don't know, the poorest people, the poorest of the dispossessed masses out of a situation where they were servile to landed gentry, or they were peasants from an agrarian society, or they were dominated by the landlords, but then ultimately they were able to come into modernity and become like a powerhouse, an industrial powerhouse that is competitive with the largest superpower on the planet. I would say if that's the point.
Whoa, dude! Whoa! What a fucking skip and a hop and a jump! What? Germany came out of World War I absolutely humiliated, so wrecked, so fucked. And then they had the Weimar Republic. That was a bit shaky. But at the end of the day, they ended up becoming the dominant liberal Western democracy in the European Union. Oh.
Wow.
What happened after they overthrew the landlord class and gave the land to the peasants? What happened less than a decade after that little gesture? Interesting. Because there's at least 36 odd million people starved to death are going to be like, what the fuck happened to us? What are you doing? You're not even in China anymore. He's doing the thing again. He's doing the thing. The Chinese history.
Thing.
Stop doing the thing.
Good governance, and I think you guys might agree with me on that. I would say China is probably the closest, and there are still plenty of failures within the Chinese system as well, plenty of issues within the Chinese system as well, but that's probably the closest, I would say, to an example that we should follow and lessons that we should learn from. This is something that I talk about quite a bit. Ironically enough, we only utilize some of the most repressive elements of Chinese governance here in the United States of America, especially in the second Trump administration, and none of the good stuff. We don't have any high-speed rail. We don't have any even development. There is seemingly nothing to look forward to in America in terms of
what did he say there?
America, especially in the second Trump administration, and none of the good stuff. We don't have any high-speed rail. We don't have any even development.
Even develop? Is he talking about is China going to be your model for even development? China's entire fucking history has been one of uneven development. What the fuck are you talking about? Bro, what? Even development? Really? Are you gonna? You think the average Chinese is this because this must be just after he came back from China? I guess he thinks the average. Really, you go in westward from the coast. That's even development to you. Are you fucking mental? What the fuck? I also just love this. It's really he didn't even have a second thing there, did he? He said we should learn all these lessons from China. as Western liberal democracies, we should learn everything from China, but we've only adopted all the repressive thing, which obviously the West hasn't done. They've adopted repressive measures, but nothing like what China.
If you want to see the best example of how white people are exploited, look at how Hasan wealth transfers from preppy white college students. Genuinely so sad. You want to see the best example of white people exploitation? Whenever somebody donates to Hasan, whenever somebody makes a donation to Hasan, that is exploiting the labor capital, all right, of the white suburbanites' deceased parents' inheritance. Okay, he is extracting value from the rental income of the middle to upper class white suburbanites' parents' land. Okay, that's what's going on. Okay, look, that's based though. True.
But it's really just high-speed rail. That's the only thing he can point to. That's the only... They interviewed him before you left. Okay. The only thing you can point to is high-speed rail. Even development is not... Sorry, China does not hold a fucking beacon for even development. They're ever since 1949, ever since the first 5-year plan in China, uneven development and the rural-urban divide has been a problem. Right, like, it's always been an issue. The cultural, no, not the Cultural Revolution, but the Great Leap Forward was actually in part Mao's kind of like jerk reaction to uneven development in the rural and urban society. Like there was a big controversy where the first 5-year plan massively favored the urban environment and urban development to the point that peasants were basically struggling and going where they were basically struggling to feed the urban industrial machine, where the grain taxes were like 30% at some points, and they were basically forced to sell grain to the state at reduced costs.
I suppose the silver lining in Hasan receiving donuts is his fans losing money. Yeah, but then his fans are like, they have money to spare. Okay, all right.
Damn, what the fuck?
Damn.
Even it's really just high-speed rail. And again, at the end of the day, right, high-speed rail is great, but in a democracy, it depends on how much the people want it. Look at polling in the UK on HS2. No one gives a fuck about HS2. It was controversial as it is, but generally most people, when they're asked about HS2, is they have no opinion. People don't really have that much of an opinion of changing your railways to high-speed rail. In countries where they do want it and where they're willing to vote in that direction, they get it. Spain has high-speed rail. France has a degree of high-speed rail. Japan has high-speed rail. Really, this is like the one thing you can get from China. It's just fast train. God. There's more to life than having a fast train, bub.
There is seemingly nothing to look forward to in America in terms of economic prosperity, in terms of overall health of society, in terms of scientific achievements. And I think a lot of younger people also feel that.
Wait, what? Can I get a replay
the same
on that?
way, where they
Excuse me?
Bub.
There is seemingly nothing to look forward to in America in terms of economic prosperity, in terms of overall health of society, in terms of scientific achievements. And
Motherfucker. We invented the nuclear bomb. We invented the nuclear bomb. And we were world first in cancer research. Number one. We were world first in cancer research. Okay? Were. Alright? Hopefully. Trump might change that though.
And I think a lot of younger people also feel the same way, where they feel like there's nothing to look forward to here. And I'll give you guys an example from the UK. I remember seeing this TikTok.
Knowledge is cute, but how fast are your trains?
Thanks for the $10, Dwayne. Appreciate it.
Bro, what did disgusting, putrid propagandist. God, this guy is so
This
disgusting.
guy that goes around and is like asking young British people, would they serve in the British military? And I am
Scientific achievements. It's just trains. It's literally just high-speed rail. That's it. That is it.
not even remotely nationalistic by any measure. I don't care about those sorts of things. But I think it's important to understand, like, it's a good way to see the temperature of society. And a lot of the young British people were like,
if we had a choice between one more single-family home or a high-speed rail, we would end up picking the home. Wait, you're being sarcastic, right? Or I mean, listen.
no, why would I fight for England?
Don't listen.
Why would I fight for the UK when it seems like my government's not even fighting for me at all? And
see, the reason a lot of them will say that, though, is it's not so much about that we're not like China in terms of building high-speed rail, although that is a big issue in the UK.
Yeah, if only we had high-speed rail, then the British Zoomers would be wanting to.
Aw, his shoulders look small from this angle. Does anybody else think his shoulders look cute? Are you asking if I'm being sarcastic? What are you talking about? Why the... Wait, okay, never mind. It's fine. That's a discussion for another time, okay? His shoulders look small.
Fight for the problem with the UK, as has been in the case of most of Europe, is that basically America has sort of done most of the a lot of the heavy lifting when it came to percentages of GDP and their budget spent on defense, and we also just haven't had a war for a really long time. We haven't had any existential threats that we have just like let our guard down. Even our defense secretary has come and spoken about that recently, and that's why we're having to up defense spending as well as the rest of Europe has to. Usually it's threats that get people interested.
If you're thinking on a personal level, would choose the home, I wouldn't. I'm just talking about NIMBYs. Oh, yeah, sure. NIMBYs, sure.
Interested in joining the military
Duh.
or propaganda. That's usually how you get
They're
people
addicted to homes.
Really, we build high-speed rail, then we're going to have people chomping at the bit to join the fucking Navy and shit. God.
I agree with you.
We also don't have an empire anymore, so that's another reason.
The main reason is they feel like they've been let down by mass immigration that's eroding the values of their country. And of course, you know, this is where I think people on the right are very blind to this issue that we already raised, which is wealth inequality and opportunity. Right?
I'm sure there are some people who feel that way, of course, but...
well, think about this for a second. Hold on, let me just finish the point. Like stereotypes.
Unfortunately, in the UK, that is much more of a popular issue than high-speed rail. In the UK, people are molding about immigration. Like it is like the number one issue for voters now. It's fucking horrible. You're not going to solve that with high-speed rail. Fuck.
Typically speaking. Is it left of center people or right of center people that are going to go and fight for their country? Typically, it's going to be...
It's especially when you consider the fact that most of the people complaining about immigration don't even use trains. They live in the fucking country and they drive their little guzzlers and their little cars and they barely ever leave their fucking town and they don't see any immigrants. Like that's where Reform are getting most of their popular support from.
Right of center people because of the mindset that they have, right?
I think when push comes to shove, everybody fights for their country because that's why you have to have a draft.
In a war, but what we're talking about in this situation is, will you go and serve in the armed forces? That is going to be a more right-leaning perspective. And those people, we probably, fair to say, know the UK pretty well. Those people are concerned about the national identity of their country. It's like, why would I fight for a country that doesn't feel like my country is the issue for them?
This is where the big point of division comes for someone like myself. You're Venezuelan originally, like your family came from Venezuela, your family came from the USSR. You guys are the most British people I've ever encountered.
I have a very British face, you are correct.
Yeah, exactly. You're British to the bone.
Yeah.
Nah. There's always more British people.
And yet, very British.
Your families also came from countries that were somewhat far away from England, right? Yeah. And I'm Turkish. I grew up in Turkey. My whole family lives in Turkey still, with some exceptions. And I would say I'm pretty assimilated to American culture. I grew up being fascinated by American culture. I grew up consuming American pop culture, as do many.
Yeah, I know. You're a fucking Marabou. I mean, you say that you're a communist, Marxist, Leninist, whatever the fuck you are, okay? But you are definitely the most capitalistic out of all of us by far.
People all around the world. And what I always find interesting is when people focus on the newcomers, to say that this is actually destroying the social fabric or social cohesion, not realizing that there are a ton of polls conducted on this stuff. I can just speak for America, especially, where by the second generation, assimilation is almost complete. And by the third one, it's like virtually impossible to distinguish in terms of performance, educational output.
Oh, God, two fucking British people are not going to like hearing that. Fuck me. Oh God, he just walked in. I don't think he even realizes how much of a fucking right-wing trap he walked into. The problem in the UK is that most of the radicalism and most of the social issues, whatever, as exaggerated as they are, they do exist, and they tend to come from second and third generation migrants, not first generation. It's usually well-educated ones as well. They're more likely to be radical than working class migrants.
And job performance in general. It's just like everyone becomes American.
That's not obviously our highest crime rate is from like the black population, and they've been here for like since the 60s, right? So they've been here for multiple generations.
In the UK, though, unfortunately, so if you look at, for example, Islamist radicalization, second and third generation Muslims are much more radical than first generation.
Yeah,
so we're not. That's the issue that a lot of people in Britain are concerned about. Is not everyone's assimilating the way that the three of us have done.
So here's the interesting point about that. Well, two things I want to address. First, like I said, people assimilate. And they become a part of the
some people
normal forces of society. They become a part of the culture, or they bring some aspect of their culture into British culture. You know, they change the cuisine, and people seemingly enjoy it, even if they also simultaneously go attend an EDL rally and then get a little quick curry afterwards, or a little kebab on the side. But beyond that, the reason why people are angry is always going to be because the trains are not running on time. Because
okay, I see what Lonerbox is talking about. This guy is weirdly obsessed with trains. Can this guy just like... Can you just like chill? For just like a moment here?
The NHS is...
What does he think happens in this country? What the fuck? Not even...
Bro, what is with Hasan's train obsession? Oh my god.
Mentioning the fact that like
oh fuck.
Apart from the rolling stock companies, like quite a lot of our rail is nationalized. We even control costs. Like we've gotten rid of peak time in Scotland. The trains generally run on time. What the fuck is he talking about? Okay, you'll get delays that like sometimes if you're really unlucky, they'll go like half an hour or something. What does he think is happening to our trains? The fuck? Is this late onset autism? No, it's because it's literally the only fucking thing that people can point to China that separates it from just being an any other capitalist fucking shithole with, albeit with more authoritarianism.
He's autistic.
Improperly managed due to underfunding. That's what I believe. I think it's always an issue of underfunding, where they're not getting the same services that they once used to, and also things are becoming more and more costly.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
It's much easier for them to be guided by a right wing, guided by the right wing force.
Hasan's not prepared for this. I don't know why he is so in over his tiny little head to think he can talk about the UK to a couple of fucking British right wingers. Because if these guys are clever, they're gonna know to say that the NHS was actually funded. Its funding constantly increases past inflation. It's not just a funding problem. Obviously, it needs a lot more. But the fact that the reason it needs to get funded so much farther beyond inflation is because we're an aging population. That's why the costs are going up. We're getting much older. We can't afford to have the NHS serve the same purpose that it did in 1945 without a huge shift.
I actually think that's maybe been happening across all countries. I'm pretty sure all countries are experiencing a drastic increase in the older population that would ultimately result in that would ultimately result in more burden being placed on young people. Yeah, because now young people overall, like there's not much kids being raised anymore to lift up the economy. Old people are a huge burden on the economy and the government. They're unable to provide back into the economy. Younger people have to spend much of their youth taking care of older people as well. I don't know. It's like the whole situation is a little bit fucked.
In either taxes or something else that no government wants to impose.
In Japan,
to turn around and say you're angry,
multiple
and you're right
countries,
to be angry.
okay.
And the reason,
please get back to talking about Chinese trains. You're about to get fucking He's about to get fucking molested on NHS spending.
The reason why you're angry, the reason why all of these things are happening is because we are importing all of these random strangers into the country who don't speak your language, who you are scared by. And that I think causes division, and it causes friction that makes it harder for people to integrate.
True.
And that is part of the reason why I think, especially in a place like the UK, you see a little bit more of this resilience towards full-blown integration into society.
I also think as well, Hasan, if we're being honest, it's also because
people aren't integrating because the NHS and migrants don't use the NHS. They're young. They generally use the NHS much less than the fucking older people. The problems that people have with the NHS is not people don't vote on the, like, NHS is a big issue for British people, but it's for locals. It's not, migrants are younger. And because if you're younger, you're not going to use the NHS as often. The NHS is generally, like, the money that it spends, like, the most per head on is old people. And the old people are mostly white.
We have had such huge amounts of immigration come into the country.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying we have to deport all the white people. I got it. Mission understood.
Huge.
The people understandably go, this pace of change is too much. And you have to think, let's go back to 2016, which was the Brexit referendum. Now, Brexit was about many things, but really it was about people...
Brexit was about banning all the European migrants and then getting in our favorite migrants, who are the ones from Asia and Africa. That's what UKIP were all about. So that Nigel Farage can win an election.
Yeah, and then Sargon of Akkad destroyed UKIP. Absolute fucking cinema, dude. And what the Chinese think about mass immigration? I'm not sure, actually. I'll have to search it up.
Fear-mongering over Asian and African migrants. That's easier. You know, European migrants, that's not really enough. There's not enough fear factor in there for Nigel Farage to exploit his way into power. So he had to get rid of them so that we could bring in more Asian and African migrants, and then he could use that to become prime minister. It's very good long-term strategy. Genius, really.
Wanting immigration to be lowered. And that was 9 or 10 years ago. Immigration hasn't been lowered. In fact, it's been ratcheted up. So people voted to lower immigration. And for instance, I voted Remain. People voted Brexit. I'm like, well, that's democracy. We get on. We're going to make the best of it. I do believe that when you ignore people's wishes at the ballot box and people explicitly vote for something and you ignore them for the best part of a decade, that does generate a lot of and understandable.
And also because these guys are fucking populist shitters, they're just going to say, well, instead of they promising to cut immigration and they're not doing it. They're just going to, these guys think Labour and Conservative are the same party. So they're not going to address the fact that Keir Starmer has actually addressed a lot of the flaws in Tory immigration policy and meant that it's not just going to be like 5 fucking dependents or whatever for every person on a visa. So that immigrants who come actually are the like productive ones and everything like that. And so we don't have net migration of about 1 million in a year almost. But yeah, they're just going to say like the government, and that's Labour and Conservative to these guys. Fuck
yeah. I think in that same time frame, if
did you not get Brexit? Yeah, but we got Brexit, and obviously one of the big arguments for Brexit that people used was immigration. But then the Tories, whilst also promising to cut immigration constantly since 2010, ended up presiding over the biggest immigration waves in British history. So recent history anyway.
If there was enough appetite by the government to address the financial harm that people were experiencing, the economic struggles that people were experiencing, there would still be a lot of people who say, I don't want a brown person, I don't want a black person around in my neighborhood, but ultimately those numbers would be far smaller. And that's what I always go back to. I'm a leftist. I believe in economic improvements, and I believe that a lot of the reactionary forces actually take advantage of that instability, the economic volatility that exists, in an effort to shift the attention away to people who have the same exact interests as you and I do. Because ultimately, I don't believe that anyone is coming into the United States of America or the UK, as a matter of fact, because they want to bring about a Salafist-style Islamic caliphate in London. I know you won't agree with me on this.
It's not about whether I agree; it's about whether the facts agree with you.
I don't think that's the case.
Hold on.
Oh my God! And what is your opinion formed on? And what the fuck is your opinion formed on? Obviously, your fucking opinion is formed on the facts, right? Oh, it's not about whether or not I agree with you. It's about whether the facts agree with you. Motherfucker, where do people's opinions come from? It has to come from the facts, no? Oh my
Well,
god.
let me just
Oh no, we're about to hear about Sharia law. Oh
Oh
no.
my
Be
god.
some
Oh my
facts
Sharia
god.
courts.
if that we have a terrorist attack on a monthly basis by an Islamist, effectively. We just had 2 in the space of the last month as we're recording this.
Good. I hope they happen more often.
33%, I think, of British Muslims want Sharia law in Britain.
In Minecraft.
Like, according to polls. More than
Wait,
half.
what's it say? Sharia law, general public British Muslims. Again, like, you need to ask more elaborate questions about what they mean by Sharia law, because they don't vote in this direction. They ran, actually, there was like 4 or 5 Muslim independents who won elections. They didn't even fight on Sharia law. They fought on Gaza. They were like, if you care about Gaza, vote for me. This is not like
Sharia
a
law.
concern. I don't know why. The only Sharia we have in the UK is Sharia councils for marriage, and that's partly a problem with the state because we haven't like integrated properly like Muslim marriage into our own laws, so they go and do it in their own way. We didn't do the same thing that we did with Jews.
Set this up? What do you mean? What is this? Why'd you think of this? The #1 bot for Kick streamers. Kickbot makes streaming on Kick even better. Cloud-based streaming tool with custom AI TTS. Set this up so we can have Destiny Food Shop's TTS. The last thing I want is for my voice to be saying some N-word, actually no, there's actually nothing someone can put into TTS that can be worse than anything I've already said. So actually, never mind. Sure, I'll configure it after streaming.
Jewish marriages, for example. Thank you, Raging Tomato. Sorry for not reading messages. I got you. Thank you so much. Wow, very generous.
What are your thoughts on chicken and waffles? I mean, it's really good, isn't it? Like, unironically.
I haven't
Hold
seen
on.
these polls.
Well, we can
Yeah.
put them in for people to see. More than half want to ban homosexuality, right?
It's like soul food,
when you
right?
say people aren't coming in to introduce an Islam,
Again, that's a problem. Yeah, sure, that's a problem. But in terms of the top 100, it's like somewhere in the bottom half. Like, they don't vote in this direction. They don't. What did the UK do with Jewish marriage? Well, we recognize it by law, which means that you can have your Jewish marriage done in your little Jewish way or whatever, but it's like it's recognized by the state, whereas Muslim marriage is not. Muslim marriage, they just kind of do their own thing. And it also means that when people want to get divorced or if they want to deal with abuses in their marriage or whatever else, then it's harder for them to get assistance from the state because the state doesn't have the same input. There's a whole like fucking parliamentary report on it from 2018, if you want it.
stuff. Well, some of them want to if they're in a position to do so. We have 5 MPs who are effectively elected on a sectarian ticket, like as in we are Muslims, vote for us because you're a Muslim.
Who would you say those MPs are?
The 5 independent MPs, they're called the Gaza MPs or whatever way you want to call them. Right?
Are you talking about like Zara Sultana?
No.
I don't know if she's one of.
No, wasn't she Labour at the time, or was she? She might have been independent, but no, the Gaza MPs are like the guys from these very like high immigration areas who basically ran their campaigns on just fucking screaming about Gaza and being like, yeah, they were. I don't know if they've done anything as MPs, but I think it was it 4 or 5 of them? No, because one of them was Corbyn. The Gaza MPs, I think did any of because a couple of them were just like,
yeah, I'm black and I'm Jewish.
Random fucking nobodies. They didn't come from any of the parties. They were just like they were just like random Muslim guys. How many of them went? 5 Gaza MPs. George Galloway was one of them. Maybe.
Bro. Me and who, okay? Me and who?
Sultana was one of the 5. But is it the other 2? Or were they just candidates who failed?
I think one of them is called Adnan Hussein. There's 5 of them. You can.
Adnan Hussein. Who is he? Adnan Hussein, I think he was always independent. I don't think he was ever. No, he was a Labour member as well. No, so because there were some. It was in Birmingham or somewhere. There was like some random fucking. There were some constituencies where you just had these kind of first time into politics random fucking Muslims who just ran like really fucking like nasty smear campaigns or like shit show campaigns. But yeah, I didn't think any of them won though.
Yeah. We can look them up.
I'm currently waiting for my new contacts to come in, okay? Since I like the blue contacts and you guys also like the blue contacts, I actually ordered even bluer contacts, okay? This time it's going to be bright blue, okay? Because these contacts are a kind of husky gray blue, okay? Which is pretty, okay? However, that is a difference from like a brighter shade of blue. So I'm going to see if I can find the unnaturally bright shade of blue, okay? Yeah. Oh. Let me save this. There's no way I'm finishing this today. I'm gonna see if I can bring in the Lonerbox community. I need more Lonerbox viewers, okay? I need to expand past Destiny, okay? As much as I love Destiny viewers, we need to go beyond, right? Dude, there's still over 200 concurrent viewers combined. Holy shit! So fucking dope, dude. I thought that YouTube was dying, but Kick always has a consistent, like, above 50 at this rate. Right now it's like 80. You want people who just talk IP 90% of the day? I don't think they talk about Israel versus Palestine 9% of the time, okay? Yeah. I thought YouTube was dying, but it turns out there's just a lot more people on Kick now, which is good, because that's what I've been trying to aim for. Let me see if, because just in case YouTube goes down, and like I get like a strike or something, or even 3 strikes, who the fuck knows at this point, because look at what happened to NASA Airtight. Yeah, I need a backup plan. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I need to get back to the Kick person on